Hi everyone, and welcome back to Fully Playable Games. So on today's video, we are actually going to be heading out to the auction. And yeah, in today's video, there is, I will admit, it's the most amount of gaming stuff that I've ever seen at the auction that I go to. There is quite a few sort of bundles of games. No consoles, actually. I'll say that. There's one... Well, not a console, but it's a computer. So I've actually got a Commodore 64 bread bin, but I'm going to bid on it, but it will just depend on sort of how much it goes for. See, we've already got one in the collection, so it will probably just end up being sort of something that I flip. But there are two lots that I am really interested in. One of them is basically it's a DVD CD lot. But it also has a box with some Xbox games in it. So it's got some Xbox 360 games. But it's actually got the first release of Need for Speed Most Wanted. So I think that's about a £55 game on CEX. So yeah, fingers crossed I can get hold of that listing. But the one that I am really interested in is actually a big box PC bundle. So I think there's like 8 big box PC games, but in there you've got a big box version of one of the Championship Managers, Worms 2, but the biggest title in there is the big box version of Doom 2. So yeah, that's about an £80 game. So fingers crossed there's not a lot of interest in it and I can get that cheap, because that will be an absolutely amazing addition to the collection. And then there's a couple of other bits. Another thing actually that I'm looking to get is I've actually got a lot here with a 3D printer. So there's a 3D printer with a load of the reels. I mean, the printer's not sort of massively high end. I think it sort of retails for about £100 to £120. But if I can get hold of it, it's a good step into 3D printing for me, which is something I've wanted to look into. But it would also allow me to start creating some displays for the game room. So a bit like the Pokemon display that I've got on the Game Boy shelf, just next to my Xbox shelves. Those are actually 3D printed stands that I got off Etsy. So yeah, I'll be able to do stuff like that, which will be good. So yeah, fingers crossed to be able to get that. And then I think that's about it. So what we'll do is we'll jump into the auction. What I'll do is I'll put some video in of me bidding on those lots. And yeah, we'll see how we get on. And I will catch you back in the games room.
226 is a computer games with the action figures. There we are, nice little collection this one. Lots of interesting bits there. Give us 15 for a lot. 15 then. Give us 12. Start with 10 up. 10 straight in. Then give us 12. £10 straight in, last chance. Selling for £10. Sold 10, thank you very much. Well, 106 is the goals and it's towards the rubber managers there. Some is 12. 12 is back in, give it a 15. £12 right there with the gents. All down, £12. So 12. The 1.7, the Commodore 64 computer and accessories there. Start expecting £20 straight in there for the 22, 25, 28, 30, 32, 25, 32, then ahead, 35 on his face, 28, 40, 42, 45, 48, 50, 55, 55, 60, 65. The ball movement, 60 down, right there. Last chance at £60. 162 is the breathing printer and accessories here. Breathing printer and accessories here. There we are. I have things we've got on the front. We've got 30, 32, 35 here. I'll give you the 38. 38, you've got 40, 42, and I'm out, so we'll give you 45. 42, dead ahead. 42 pounds. Just in time, 45. He's broken up. 48, 50, 50 at the back, 55. 60. 60 again, 65. 70. Sorry, 65. Thank God. 167, PC, CD drops. Your right back makes up the lump. 15 quick. 10 up. 10 there, 12 at the back. Quickly. 80. 20. 18 right back there. 20. Oh, 80. 171 to 90 up in the arms. Looks like someone with the back nose. It's all their plastic upper. First 15 back. 10 up. 10 there, 12 here. 15, 18, 20, 22, 25, 28, 30. 30 down, 32. 30 down with the text at the back. Last ball and sale.
Okay, so that is going to wrap up our trip to the auction. And as you saw, it was a jam-packed day for gaming pickups. There was quite a few lots there for sort of varying things. But what we'll do is going to dive straight in and have a look at one of the lots that I saw there, which was for a Commodore 64, plus a couple of accessories. So I think it was the Commodore 64 bread bin with a tape deck and a floppy disk drive. I'll be honest, I wasn't that interested in the bread bin or the tape deck because I've already got those in the collection, but I was really interested in that floppy disk drive. So yeah, we were looking at, me and one of the resellers there, we were looking this up, and we thought, well, the whole bundle, you're probably looking about 100 to 120 quid. So what we ended up deciding to do is that we would go in together, split the price down the middle. I'd keep the floppy drive, and he would basically take the Commodore and the tape deck. And yeah, I was happy to do that, obviously as long as it didn't go over sort of what I was looking at. So I think we'd set ourselves a maximum of £50. It ended up sort of creeping up to a hammer price of 60, and yeah, sorry, did I say we decided 50? It crept up to 60. So yeah, the hammer price was £60, which meant after the commissions and everything, the buyer would have paid £75, and I thought that was high. They're not going to make masses out of that, sort of £10–20 at most, once you factor in sort of eBay fees, shipping and all of that. Yeah, you're not going to make a lot out of that. So I'm hoping the person that bought it was a collector and not a reseller. If they're a collector, they've not done too bad, as long as it all works. So that was the other reason as well. Obviously you don't know whether it works or not, so yeah, it is what it is. Then next up there was a bundle of PC games. So there was a whole load of different games in there, all nothing major stood out, but I thought, you know what, if it goes cheap I'll sort of dive in on it. I think I ended up putting in a bid for it, but then yeah, it ended up selling to someone else. And we'll get to that someone else in a minute. So yeah, it went for a hammer price of £18. So once all the fees and commissions are added on, it was a total price of £22.50. And then quickly following on from that was the box, or the stack of big box PC games. Now these boxes were all empty. There was no games in them at all. But the ones that one of them in particular sort of really stood out to me, and that was the Doom 2 box. So as I say, it didn't come with anything, so I would have had to sort of source the game. I think you can pick up the game complete in box for around £60 to £70. So I wasn't going to go too mad, and I think I sort of set myself a budget of £30. Then sort of, so I'm bidding, carrying on bidding, and then it hit. I think I got sort of 25. Then the other person I'm bidding against got 30, and I'm like, no, done, sort of take it. So he ended up winning it for £30, Total price he paid for that was $37.50. Then I was actually talking to him, and it's actually someone that I've met at Gravesend Boot Fair. So I've been talking to him sort of whenever I go, and yeah, that was who was there. Unfortunately, he did say to me he's not been to the auction in ages and just decided out of the blue to go for that one. I'm like, oh, thanks. But so the reason that he was sort of so committed to getting hold of that lot was obviously because of the Doom 2 box, and then he also won the PC lot from before. Because when he was sort of going through, he thought he saw the CD for it. Unfortunately, when we did go through the games after sort of the auction was done, he'd actually seen Doom 3 and not Doom 2, so he didn't actually have the disc there, which was a bit of a shame for him. But I will admit, I did say to him, I'm more than happy to pay. I'm more than happy to buy the Doom 2 box off if you want to sell it. I think I offered him sort of 20. Knowing what he'd paid for the whole lot, and he was like, oh well, I'll have a look and I'll sort of come back to you. He's never come back to me, so yeah, it is what it is. I sort of thought 20 quid for just the box was completely reasonable. I actually had a listing that I was looking at on eBay for just the game, so yeah, it is what it is. The offer was given, and he just didn't come back to me. But diving into the bits that I did pick up. So the first lot that I picked up was basically a whole load of sort of random gaming bits. So we've got a whole stack of games, a whole stack of figures, which we'll get to. But this first one was a Crash Bandicoot TNT light. So a bit like the... where is it? Oh, I think it's in the other bedroom. I got the big question mark cube light for Mario a little while ago. This is exactly the same. So you put batteries in the bottom, and then you basically push the top, and the light comes on and off. Unfortunately, this one is missing the battery compartment cover, but I have put batteries in it. It does all work. So yeah, that will be a bit of a sort of display piece. I will admit this wasn't the reason for buying the lot, but it is what it is. Looking it up online, they go for about £10 on eBay. Then getting into the games, first one that we've got is a double, and that is going to be Diablo 3. So this 2012 Blizzard Entertainment game is the sort of well-known sort of dungeon crawler hack and slash. It was released across multiple platforms. We've got it on PS3. It is a double, so this one won't be going into the collection. Looking it up online, it sells for £3 at CEX, £5 on eBay, and trades in for a £1.20 voucher. So that is going to go into the CEX pile, and yeah, we'll trade that one in. Then next up, we've got Call of Duty Modern Warfare Game of the Year Edition. Released back in 2007 by Infinity Ward, this first-person shooter become an absolute staple, spawning two more sequels, both sort of controversial in their own right. This one, obviously, we've got the PS3 version. It is complete. It goes for £2 at CEX, £4 on eBay. And I'm actually going to be keeping this one because we don't have the Game of the Year variant in the collection. We've just got the standard edition. Then the next game we've got is actually a PS2 game, and that is Formula 1 2001. So released by Studio 33, this racing game follows the 2001 Formula 1 World Cup Challenge. This is the latest release this is the last release in North America until Formula 1 Championship Edition on the PS3. This one goes for £1.50 at CEX, £3 on eBay, and it is going into the collection because we don't currently have it. So next up, we've got Iron Aces 2, Birds of Prey on the PS2. This 2002 combat flight sim, I will say, is an actually really good game. So the it controls really, really well. I will say the only negative that I found with this is that there's no sort of free mode. So when you first start the game, you start combat in a Spitfire. Basically, you've got to progress through the game in order to unlock the different aircrafts. And yeah, it won't let you enter another aircraft until you've unlocked it. So this one goes for £150 at CEX, £4 on eBay. Then another PS2 game is going to be Tiger Woods PGA Tour 07, released in 2006 by EA Redwood Shores. This is a golf simulation game, and yeah, this was, I believe this was one of the early ones to actually adopt the sort of the thumbstick swing. So this is one where you use the thumbstick to essentially sort of swing your club. I will say, playing it worked really well. Other games that I've played with the thumbstick swing, I don't tend to get on with that well. But this one didn't have any problems, and actually on the first hole managed to get a birdie. So yeah, really happy with that. It goes for £1 at CEX, £3.50 on eBay. This one is getting added into the collection because currently we've only got it disc only. So yeah, happy to have that one finally. And then the last PS2 game we got from this lot, but it's not the last game, is a copy of Piglet's Big Adventure. Sorry, not Piglet's Big Game. So this is a double. So this one I am actually going to sell on eBay. And I will be honest, I already have sold it on eBay. This is my copy from the collection. So this 2003 game was released by Doki Denki Studios, which is actually a French studio. It's an action-adventure game loosely based on Piglet's Big Movie and centres around Piglet and how he tries to overcome his fears. This game has recently seen an absolutely monumental jump. So its price has spiked from £5 probably about 6 months ago up to about £40. I think I actually sold my copy, which was complete, for I think it was 37 I got for it. So yeah, the big reason for this is, as a lot of people have noticed, that the music in this is very similar to the music that's used in the new Silent Hill game, Silent Hill 2 remake. And yeah, I was, you know, it's one of these games that I've seen it loads and loads and loads. You just ignore it because it's you're like, oh, just another shovelware game. But yeah, it's absolutely exploded, gone right away up in price. And to be quite honest, the reason that I've already sold my copy of it was purely because I wanted to get it up, get it sold before the price crashes again. Because it is inevitable. That's how it goes with video games. But yeah, got really, really lucky with that, because actually the auction itself happened September time, I think it was. So I've actually had these games sitting in a box for a couple of months now, and yeah, really, really happy that I was able to sort of get that sold. I think it's sold literally within a couple of days. So yeah, that's good. Right, next up, once again, as I say, this is still in the same lot. We actually got 2 copies of Disney Infinity 3.0. So released back in 2015 by Avalanche Studios. This is a Toys to Life game, and yeah, unfortunately is no longer supported by Disney. But I will say the 3.0 version was actually the highest rated out of the whole series. So this received a Metacritic score of 80%, whereas all the others were sort of in mid-70s. CEX don't actually sell these games individually, they only sell them as a sort of starter pack, and the games go for about £4 on eBay. So I'll be honest, we've already got these in the collection. No, we haven't got a 3.0, so I'm going to be keeping 1 copy for the collection. The other's going to be going probably in a boot fair box, and yeah. Right, next up so this is mostly going to be Xbox now for the rest of the lot. So next up we've got U-Shape Fitness Evolved. This 2010 Ubisoft fitness game is a sequel to the original U-Shape, making it the second in the franchise. surprisingly. This was actually a launch title for the Kinect. So yeah, I won't have any gameplay footage for this because I just haven't got the room in here for the Kinect to be set up. Looking it up online, it goes for 50p at CEX, £4 on eBay, and it's not one that we've currently got in the collection, so yeah, going to add that one in. Then next up, we've got another double. This is on the Xbox 360, and it's going to be Far Cry 2. So released in 2008, this first-person shooter is the second game in the mainline Far Cry series. Set in a fictional African country engulfed in civil war. The story follows a mercenary who's assigned to kill the Jackal, a weapons dealer infamous for allowing the conflict to carry on. Yeah, I'll be honest, for me this one just is a bit too dated to play. I much prefer the more modern Far Cry games. Looking it up online, it goes for 150 at CEX, £3 on eBay, and trades in for a 10p voucher. Alright, so in addition to all the games, as I did say earlier on, we did get a couple of figures as well. And actually, when I say we got a couple of figures, we got a bit more than that, because we've actually ended up with a whole box of Disney Infinity characters. So there's a lot of Star Wars ones in here, there's some Marvel, there's also some Pixar as well. I'll be honest, I was originally going to sell these, but I've actually decided now to keep hold of them and add them in. So the little one does have a whole load of Disney Infinity figures, so what I might actually do is add it to their bundle of Disney Infinity characters, and then at some point, if I ever get the ability to display them, then we'll put them on the shelves. I'll be honest, sort of looking through them, there's a couple that are worth like sort of £10-ish, but nothing major, and sort of nothing super rare. And then that was everything in that bundle. So yeah, we ended up getting this for, I think we were the only bidder on this lot. So we got it for a hammer price of £10, and after we've added the fees on, total price paid was £12.50. So yeah, really happy with the bits that we picked up there, and yeah, definitely some good additions to the collection. Then moving on to the next lot, and this was probably the main lot that I was looking at when we were there, mainly for one game in particular, but actually ended up being sort of two that I really wanted. There was a stack of games that were just beyond usage. They were in absolutely disgusting condition, and I'll be honest, I've already thrown them in the bin. I've not even included them in this list. So first off, we've actually got a VHS, and we've got a copy of Pokemon 2000 the movie. Now we've already got this in the collection, but what makes this copy a bit better is that it actually comes with the trading card that's meant to come in the box. So we don't, the copy that I've already got in the collection doesn't come with the trading card. So I'm going to keep this one, and yeah, as I say, the fact that it comes with the trading card is even better. Released back in 1999, this VHS goes on eBay for about £10. So yeah, really happy to have the one with the trading card finally. So moving on to the games that we got in this bundle, all of them are Xbox 360 games. So yeah, we've got some doubles, but we've also got some really heavy hitters as well. And the first one that we've got is a double, and that is Dishonored. So this 2012 arcane first-person shooter is you basically follow the story of the Queen's bodyguard, or the Empress's bodyguard, and after he's framed for murder, he's forced to become an assassin. Absolutely love the Dishonored games. Once again, I've played them briefly, never actually spent too much time playing them, but what I have played of them, really enjoyed. I have to admit, I absolutely love the games that Arcane put out. Probably my favourite of their releases is Prey. Absolutely love that game. But for Dishonored, it goes for £1 at CEX, £3 on eBay, and trades in for a 1p voucher. Then another double we've got is 2008 Call of Duty World at War. Released by Treyarch, this first-person shooter is the 5th game in the mainline Call of Duty saga, or series, sorry, and it's the 4th entry in the series to be set during World War II. It goes for £8 at CEX, £7 on eBay, and trades in for a £5 voucher. So that one will be going off to CEX. Then another double, we've got Need for Speed Shift, released in 2009 by Slightly Mad Studios. This game focuses on the simulation element rather than the arcade racing of the previous titles. It was followed by a sequel, Shift 2, released in 2011. And Shift is the 13th instalment in the Need for Speed franchise, which, yeah, absolutely mental. There's that many games. Goes for £3.50 at CEX, £4 on eBay, and trades in for a £1.40 voucher. So that'll be another one that we take into CEX. And then I think this is the last double, and that is Lego Batman, the video game. So released in 2008 by Traveller's Tales, this action-adventure game follows Batman fighting his most dangerous foes who have all escaped from Arkham Asylum and divided themselves into 3 groups of 5, each led by a well-known villain with plans to achieve their personal goal. It's actually noted at being the first Traveller's Tale Lego games to actually have an original plot. It sells for £5 at CEX, £5 on eBay, and trades in for a £3 voucher. And then, actually, no, we've got one more double, I think it is. I'm pretty sure this is the last double. And that is Wolfenstein. So this 2009 Raven Software first-person shooter is the sequel to Return to Castle Wolfenstein, which was the first sequel to Wolfenstein in about, I want to say it was 15 years between them. You play as series protagonist William B.J. Baskowitz, and the story is set in a fictional town during World War II, in which the Nazis have enforced martial law to excavate rare crystals to access the Black Sun dimension. Very interesting. I'll be honest, I've played this very briefly when we actually did pick it up. I think we picked it up middle sort of part of last year. Goes for £8 at CEX, £14 on eBay, and trades in for a £5 voucher. So we've done actually really well with this lot. So what we got? I think we've got, I want to say we've probably got close to about £15 in voucher credit for CEX out of everything that we've picked up, which is good. Then moving on to the games that we're going to be adding into the collection. First one that we've got is Lego Indiana Jones, the original adventure. Released in 2008, this action adventure is the game played from a third-person perspective, in which the player controls Lego figures in areas inspired by the Indiana Jones film series. It was released by Traveller's Tales, goes for £5 at CEX, £5 on eBay, and we do currently have a copy of this in the collection, but it's a classics copy. So yeah, this is essentially a sort of white label version, so quite happy to have that one. Then next up we've got Sumo Digital's 2011 Sega Rally. So this was released as Sega Rally Online Arcade for the Xbox 360. I believe that is the digital version, because this one is just Sega Rally. The graphics on it look absolutely amazing. The only problem with it is the steering is very, very floaty. So that is the sort of big letdown for this. But even still, as I say, it looks stunning. But yeah, it's just those controls that let it down. Sells for £4 at CEX, £6 on eBay, and that is also another new addition to the collection. Then this was actually a game that one of the resellers that was at the auction with me, and this was the same reseller that was going to go halves with me on the Commodore, said that he'd be interested in getting off me if I wasn't adding it to the collection, which I am. And it's another Sumo Digital game. And this time it is Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing with Banjo-Kazooie. So this game, this is a kart racing, a mascot kart racing game, similar to other games like Mario Kart and Crash Team Racing. The game has 4 separate vehicle types: racing, off-road, bike and hovercraft, and it's one of the first games to actually include non-Sega properties in the game. So as I say, we've got sort of some rare characters in there as well, which is good. Released in 2010, this goes for £8 at CEX, £7 on eBay. And then the last 2 games that we've got in this bundle are 2 that I've been really wanting to add to the collection. The first one is Fear, First Encounter Assault Recon. Released in 2006 by Monolith Productions. This first-person shooter revolves around the fictional Fear Recon team, as an elite group of US Army tasked with investigating supernatural phenomenon. When a private military company's secret research project goes wrong and dangerous and powerful psychic powers are unleashed, Fear is called in. So yeah, I have currently got Fear 2 and 3 on the Xbox 360. I've been looking for this for a while. We've actually got the add-on to this, which is the Fear files. So we've actually now got the complete set of Fear games on the Xbox 360. This goes for £12 at CEX, £13 on eBay. And then this was the one game that I saw in this box, and I was like, I am winning this lot. And I was actually going to go up to the price of this game to buy the whole bundle, because I thought as soon as other collectors or resellers see this in there, it's going to be absolute pandemonium, people trying to get hold of it. Wasn't the case. And that is Need for Speed Most Wanted on the Xbox 360. So this is the 2005 version. So this is, they did do a remake of this. I believe it was 2012. And yeah, this is one that is highly sought after on the Xbox 360. Purely because it's the only way to play this game in HD. So originally it was released on the original Xbox and the PS2. And I think the GameCube as well, but obviously on the Xbox 360 you could play it in sort of HD. Oh, excuse me. Developed by EA Vancouver, the game's main story involves players taking on the role of a street racer who must compete against 15 of the city's most elite street racers to become the most wanted racer of the group. The reason that this version is so expensive on the 360 is because, as I say, it's the only version in HD, and as has now been delisted, obviously with the shutting of the Xbox 360 store. But this game has been quite expensive the whole time that I've known it. So yeah, looking it up online, it goes for £55 at CEX, £60 on eBay, and it is complete, which is even better. So yeah, really happy to have this. This is one that I've sort of seen a couple of times. The only time I've ever seen it in person sort of and held it was a copy that Nikki found at the charity shop for £1. But unfortunately the disc was beyond saving. The disc was completely destroyed. Even after running it through the cleaner and trying to do a restore on it, it was just completely dead. So yeah, really happy to finally have this in the collection. And I haven't put the totals on for this. Right, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to grab the totals for this lot. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so I've got the totals up in front of me. I'm just going to read them straight off my phone. So yeah, this bundle, as I say, I was looking at it. I saw loads of other people looking through the box. And I was convinced as soon as I saw that Most Wanted, the bidding on this would go crazy. I ended up being the only bidder, if I remember rightly. I think it was the only bidder. And I think they started at 15, then went down to 12, and I just chucked a bid in. I was like, no, I'm not letting anyone else get in. And yeah, I ended up being the only bidder, so I won it for a hammer price of £12. After fees, that ended up being a total of £15. So yeah, absolutely over the moon. If you think we've paid £15, we're going to get that back in just the games that we're going to trade into CEX. There was some other bits in there as well. I think there was a monitor and a load of sort of VHSs and that as well. So the VHSs, I've either taken them to the boot fair, or any that are worthwhile I've chucked on eBay. So essentially we've got two big games that I wanted for the collection for pretty much nothing. So really happy to have these, and yeah, just can't believe that I've got most wanted for next to nothing. But before we get to the totals, there was actually one more lot that I did bid on. I don't know if I've put the footage of it in yet or not. I'll probably decide that when I edit this video. But I actually picked myself up a 3D printer. So this was, I've always had a sort of fringe interest in 3D printing, but just was never in a position to actually jump in and start, like, basically get a 3D printer and start using it. But I did manage to pick this one up. It actually come as the 3D printer with about 8 filament reels as well, so I've got plenty there to keep me going. I will say I've already broke it. So yeah, I was sort of running loads. I was doing loads of sort of little test prints, just trying to get myself familiar with sort of how it works and all of that. And on the end, you've got basically little nozzles where the filament comes out. Well, I have actually threaded that into the sort of heating element. I have got a couple of replacements. They are here. I just haven't had a chance to fit them yet. But the big reason for wanting to get this is I actually wanted to do some displays for the cartridges. So for like my NES games, I want to basically create sort of cartridge racks. Same for my 2600 Game Boys, all basically the cartridge only games. I want to basically create some sort of racks to put them in, just so that they're not just sort of flapping about. So that was the big reason for getting this. And yeah, it's something that when I get the time, I'm going to sort of repair the printer, and yeah, just get a bit more involved in it, and start sort of setting it up so that I can start printing off, as well as that also console stands. So I want to start getting some display stands for some of the handhelds and the consoles that I've got. So yeah, so with this, managed to win it for a hammer price of £65. The printer itself will sell for about £110, and then the filaments are about £20 each. So you're looking at a total value of sort of closing in on about £200. So total paid after all the fees was £81 and 25p. So yeah, really happy with that. Some absolutely amazing bits that we picked up today, and as I say, I got so lucky with some of the lots that I've picked up. So yeah, but before we wrap up, let's quickly run through the totals. So our total spend today was £87 exactly. If we'd bought everything from CEX, it would have been £152 and 25p, and if we got everything from eBay, it would have been £428 and 50p. And we're all set for a £20 and 71p voucher. So I will probably say that the £20 we will get a voucher, and then the other bits will probably just end up at the boot fair. So yeah, that is going to wrap up today's video. But before you head off, if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button, and if you're not already, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell to be kept up to date when I upload new videos. And yeah, with that said, thank you so much for watching today. Really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Alright, bye.